Thank you for tuning in to another episode with Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am a relationship and femininity coach. I've been married for 13 years, and my goal is to help both men and women be in relationships that's best for them. So, if you haven't listened to my video about how to find the right partner, watch that video because that's a really good video and how to find the person that's best for you. So, I wanted to talk a little bit today about, is there value in dating? Is there value in a relationship? Is there value in marriage? Is there value in just loving someone rather than just hooking up, right? So a lot of times we hear people say that there's no value in having a real committed relationship, even to the point of there's no value in marriage. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because as someone who's been married for quite some time, yes, every relationship, whether you're married or not, it does take work, right? It does require you to be, and when I say work, I don't mean that it's hard. Like, I wouldn't say marriage is hard. What I would say is it requires effort, right? It does require some application on your part. It requires you to commit to your vows every day. It's something you have to put in the work to be the best version of yourself, and that does not stop just because you're in a relationship, because you're married, right? So let me at first explain this point. This is the premise of everything. So is there value in marriage? Yes. Is there value in being in a serious relationship rather than a hookup? Yes. Is there value in loving people? Yes. And a lot of times people say there's not because, if you love someone, you get hurt, right? If you get married, you could end up losing half or having to give up your home because maybe you guys have to split it in half, losing custody of children because a lot of times children are affected by this, right? It's who gets custody, physical or legal custody. Time sharing gets affected, especially with the father. Whenever there's a split in a relationship, the father gets less time, which there's a lot to say about that. I don't agree with that. And I see a lot of these things, when I worked as a guardian ad litem, right? So these things are truly, truly, truly a big issue, right? But when you understand that there is value in marriage, marriage hasn't lost its value. People have lost their value system, right? Not marriage. Marriage is still the same. It is still something ordained by God. There's still vows and commitments that need to be made. Just because people are not following through with their covenant, because people have lost their values, their mindset isn't the same as it used to be. How they view the world, how they view marriage, how they view relationship and love. Because just because that changed doesn't mean marriage has changed. So that there's still a greater commitment with that. Also understanding that love does not cause you to be hurt. Not love. Now, because someone whom you loved hurt you, or because you love someone and something that you've done or they've done hurt, doesn't mean love hurt. So if you go to Corinthians, for those who are faith-based people, in Corinthians, it talks about, Corinthians 13, I believe, it talks about what love is. Love is patient. Love is kind. It's not boastful. It's not arrogant. It's not rude. It doesn't, keep tabs of things that you've done wrong. It's not resentful. Love is enduring, right? It endures all things. So in understanding that, and I know I've talked often about, love alone is not what makes relationships work or marriage work, but understand when I say that, I mean the feeling of love. Just because you feel like you love them, it requires work. But when you encompass what love is based off of Corinthians, then you understand that love does, if you do all those things, those are all the hard and the diligent work and being mindful. That's the effort that's being applied, because that means you can't be rude or arrogant. You have to be mindful. Whenever you're ready to snap, you have to have self-control and realize I can't be rude and be in my feelings. I can't be upset because they didn't get this. I have to be patient. I have to be kind in my words. I have to be loving. I can't be resentful. I need to learn to forgive, right? I need to learn to say things with love. I need to allow grace, right? So yes, whenever you do all of those things of what love encompasses, then yes. And sometimes because we're human, we're not always patient. We're not always kind. Sometimes we are rude. Sometimes we are arrogant, right? And that's what makes it hurt, because we're not loving the way we should. That hurts. Not love. The people in whom we loved, or we thought that loved us, or that if they do love us, they just fell short, right? And that's the same thing with marriage, because you need all of those things in order to make a marriage work. And sometimes people betray us. They let us down. And they don't do the things in which they vowed to do. And that hurts, right? Sometimes people are not living up to the in the person they were designed to be. They're not being their best selves. So because of that, they have lost their value of what their true value system, right? Their belief system is distorted. What their standard should be is covered by what the Western world, and I like to say Western world because there's a lot of people who are living in this, they're not necessarily in the States, but they're living with this mindset, right? And they don't have the traditional cultures and value system that some Eastern cultures have, and some people who are just rooted in traditional values, they don't have that. So because of the value system in America and the Western world, people tend to not show their value of who the wife they should be, the husband they should be. And because of that, the value of marriage to them has gone down. But no, the person you chose no longer had value systems, or they never had value systems, and that wasn't the person you were supposed to be with. So you chose wrong, right? And sometimes we like to put this on, because a lot of men say there's no value in marriage. But if a woman said there's no value in marriage, as if you're a man or listening, you'd be like, see, women they're not even trying to be wise. They don't value marriage. Well, I feel like it's the same thing. If you feel that you don't value marriage, you don't value true relationships and things like that, you're speaking from pain and hurt, and you need healing. Man or woman, you need healing. You need to heal from the past. And because what happens is people walk around with this chip on their shoulder. They're upset with something that happened in the past and they haven't dealt with it. So they're walking around, in every relationship they're in, they can't sit up straight and be in that relationship because they're dealing with this chip that's weighing them down. And when you realize that, I need to get this chip off my shoulder, and you get it off, you realize you're a little bit lighter, and you can apply more effort into what you're doing instead of worrying about how heavy this baggage that you're carrying, right? Because men carry baggage just like women. Women have trauma issues from past relationships, and that's why they don't see the value in being a wife sometimes. Not saying that's okay, I'm explaining it. And just like men see that there's no value in a relationship or marriage because they've been hurt sometimes, then I'm not saying that's okay, I'm just explaining it. And this is why people talk the way they do on the internet. But in reality, people want love, people want relationships. And if you value marriage and the person that you want to be with don't value it, then don't be with them. However, I can truly say that if a person really didn't value marriage because what they saw, what they've been through, but they saw you, and you were the woman that you needed to be, that true feminine woman that you needed to be with, that was authentic and a good person, or you were that man that you needed to be, that authentic masculine man that you need to be, that you were designed to be, that provider, that protector, the person that saw or thought that there was no value in marriage, they would think differently once being with you. The norm today is to have the mindset that is, they devalue themselves, they devalue others, they don't respect themselves. So then when you see relationships, then yes, you're going to think that, there's no point in being with this person. But when you see a person being their true selves, being the best version of themselves, it will work, and you will see the value in being with them. And that's going to change your thoughts about marriage, love, and relationships. All right. So thank you so much for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle Davida. Take care. Hopefully this helped you.